Welcome to Real Talk Wrestling on the Finns Talk Sports Network. I am Josh. With me is Miami Clutch, of course. Last week I gave him the night off. I felt like what, Netflix Raw debut. He had too much of it. It was too overwhelming. He had such a great time. He needed some more time to reflect and tell me how awesome of a show that was. Because oh boy, it was a hate fest last week, Clutch. I don't know if you watched. I don't know if you heard, but me and Chris were not happy with the Raw debut.
I
Which
could, yeah, I could hear that you guys weren't too happy with it. I didn't have a problem with it. I'm not gonna sit here and lie and be like, oh, it was the best debut of all time. But I didn't think it was bad. I thought it was enjoyable. It was always gonna be. I always expected it to be very segment driven, I guess, and not wrestling driven because you want to like, at the as a you're being introduced to millions that haven't
Mhm.
really watched the product a lot, so you just want to like pull them in with these guys that are recognizable. With Cena's promo. Cena was always going to get his promo because he's coming back for a year. But then you add Undertaker coming out for a little bit, getting that reaction. Um, Jey Uso doing his thing after matches and during his entrances. Travis Scott smoking a blunt. Everything,
Mhm.
all cool, fun stuff. Hulk Hogan getting booed was very fun for me. Really, very, very fun. I enjoyed it very much.
Sure you did. I did. I didn't see it. Still haven't seen the segment to this day. The only thing I've seen so far is I watch Botchamania. When it comes out, I watch it. Like, there's not many shows that I watch day of. Like, I actually have my alerts on. But when Botchamania goes, when they put their one video a month out, I get that alert. And I'm like, all right, it's Botchamania time. And
Yeah.
it was pretty good stuff. If you guys don't watch Botchamania, I don't know what you're doing. Like, I really don't. It's hilarious. And like, I would have never known this before Travis Scott comes out. They have Michael Cole going to Pat. Who is this guy? Who is this guy? And you hear Pat go, "That's Travis Scott, man." And then Michael Cole, like, 3 second pause. And there's the superstar Travis Scott. Like, it's like, dude, that's hilarious. Like, I don't know how they get access to this stuff, but it's great stuff. Plugging other shows on our show.
It is very good though, to be fair.
Do you watch it?
Yeah, 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 I'll watch it. Not as soon as it comes out or anything, but like when I'll scroll and I see Botchamania, I'd always click because
It's great.
it's
This
hilarious. It's
this week
amazing.
to me is pretty funny. It's like they always do, like, the Simpsons bits. Like, are they booing me? No, they're saying brother. Like, anyway, we'll move on. I'm not going to get too far. We're not going to get too in depth of Raw Netflix debut because we already talked about it. But again, I know that you do have any other things you want to say to it, or do you just want to fast forward to, of course, this
Well,
week?
I did skip one thing purposely, I guess, to get to it now. Basically, is the Rock's promo, right?
Okay.
Because I just felt like at that point we weren't getting the final boss. We weren't even getting the Rock. It was just a Dwayne Johnson promo
Hmm.
of being a director of the board and welcoming everybody to the new era back to back because Triple H did it. You bring out The Rock, he puts over Cody as the greatest thing, basically ending their beef, which is whatever. I didn't like that very much, but his job throughout 2 days because he also showed up on NXT.
NXT said nothing. Said absolutely nothing.
Yep. His job during those 2 days, or the mission that he put forth, was basically just put over as many people as possible for the new audience.
Yeah.
And that's what he tried to do. He did it with in NXT. I don't know how much of that you caught. He did it with Ethan Page, and he did it with obviously his own daughter, Ava,
Yep.
and he dropped a few names during the his promo in the ring with I think like Obafemi and people like that. So I know what he was trying to do, but it kind of like lessens his character of the final boss because he's supposed to be this evil, vindictive guy, and he's just pure babyface Rock.
Yep.
So yeah,
You saw my. I don't know if you saw my face light up. I don't know if the people watching around the world saw my face light up when you said Oba Femi. My face lit up because I
have you
saw him
discovered him?
for the first. Because wasn't he in the crowd on Raw?
Yeah, he was.
I said, "Who?" I said, "Okay, what?" What? No lie. You saw the reaction when they showed this man. I said, "Oh shit! What kind of UFC fights going on? Oh, what is there a boxing match? Like, who is this massive athlete and what is he here to promote?" And then they're like, NXT champion Oba Fett. I'm like, this guy's a freaking monster, and
Yep.
he's not even in the ring. Like, that's my first time ever seeing this person, and he's just looks like a legit real fighter. I don't know how to put it. I just don't know how to put it. I don't know if that's the vibe he puts off in the ring. Never seen a match. I don't know if that's the vibe he puts off as a persona, but he just looks like a badass. Like, I'm a UFC fighter and I'm gonna smash your face in. I was just seeing his face.
Basically, he's the ultimate badass, and he can go in the ring, and he's like very early on in his career, and it's amazing how well he's done. Where people are online, you probably haven't seen it, but they're already fantasy booking a match with him versus Gunther, which would be an amazing match. If you like followed, I would suggest you just watch some matches of his. It's really fun, and how destructive and powerful he is. It's refreshing. It's very refreshing in today's day of, super kicks and flips and all that. This is just a pure power guy who's very entertaining while he does his thing.
Yeah. I can't wait to see, because one of my New Year's resolutions was to watch more NXT. We're here on the 16th. I've yet to tune in. I've Corey Graves the show. I'm a no show. I have thoughts on that, by the way. Can we get into that real quick? But before we do, Justin, you're right. What a week. Penta debut. Raw kills it. King kills it. WWE and TNA make their partnership long term. Yes. And you're forgetting Tony Storm won the gauntlet thingy. That was an awesome moment, right? Kenny Omega returned in the AEW ring. That was an awesome moment, right? I'm just saying, like, MJF had a great promo battle with Jeff Jarrett. What a freaking week, man. Wrestling's back. No, honestly, WWE's been so awesome. Just watching that. The opening, we're going to get into the Corey Graves, but the opening shot of Raw this week with the drone and it flying around, I'm like, is this a movie? Like, is this real life anymore, or is this a professional wrestling show? Because I can't tell. It looks so freaking good. And then you watch AEW.
They can't do that drone shot in AEW. They can't. They can't pan to the crowd like that.
They couldn't even do a hard cam shot because half the balcony was empty. Mm-hmm. But I'm not going to lie. I watched all of Dynamite today, and it didn't offend me too bad. But we're not going to go there. Strictly WWE tonight. I'm happy that Kenny Omega's back. I'm super happy. Mariah May's killing it. I'm actually excited for Tony Storm and Mariah May. I'm excited for that. But we'll get there when Chris Colfer returns, because I'm sure he's going to be excited for that as well. So Corey Graves is upset that he had to go to NXT. He put some tweets out there. Again, I'm not on social media. I don't have the direct quote, but it was somewhere in the line of like, I got wrestling taken away from me by a doctor, not my choice. And now I'm getting told I'm not famous enough for my own job. And then he's basically not happy that he has to go to NXT. His brother tweeted, apparently, allegedly, that it's not a work. This is real. Mm-hmm. Corey then says, I have a lot to say on NXT. Tune in. And then he didn't show up. So I'm going to ask you, work or a shoot?
At this point, I thought it was a work after I saw the obvious tweet of like, oh, I'm going to be in NXT. So I was like, okay, maybe some sort of announcer pipe bomb promo. Fine. And then nothing happened. And then there's reports that he was just never scheduled, and apparently he went rogue. And yeah, I don't think it's a work. I think he's just genuinely unhappy, tried to do something to, I guess, shake the, I don't know how the word is, but to get noticed, and it just backfired terribly, and they sent him home, basically.
Okay, so as a person, just a TV viewer, and I hear these rumors, people tell me, the first thing I thought of because he says he's not famous enough for his own job. They were hinting at this whole Pat McAfee, Corey Graves dynamic. Every time they interacted, there was always some kind of beef on air, but not like enough where it's like, I hate you. It was just more of like move out of the way, buddy, I'm coming. And if Pat ever came out and Corey's on the booth, he's like, oh, this guy, right? But that's just a natural character. He's a heel commentator. So I was like, oh shit, are they going to ramp up for a match? Because isn't Corey working to get cleared? And if this is an angle of like, I'm not famous enough for my own job, that's obviously a shot at either Pat McAfee or Wade Barrett, or both. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh, and we hear things Wade wants to get back, maybe one more match with Drew, whatever it may be. I was thinking, oh, we're going to see finally Pat McAfee back in the ring against Corey Graves. I think I'd want to see that. But now you're telling me that it was a shoot. So now I'm like, oh, that sucks. Like that real time, that sucks. I was hoping that we would see something fun. Like they use social media in different ways these days, whether it be the Kevin Owens situation turning on Cody. They do it. So this could be a thing, but apparently it's not, which is sad to hear. I love Corey Graves. I think Corey Graves got shafted. I think he should be in the spot where Joe Tessitore is, and they should just do Corey Graves and Wade Barrett. So I don't think Joe adds anything. I don't like him. I think he sucks.
Really, I
Yeah, I don't
actually do like Joe, and
Okay.
but I do think like SmackDown could benefit from a 3-man booth. I mean, they have enough personalities for it, and
Right.
and they can keep the Michael Cole Pat McAfee dynamic, which I love. Some people don't,
Yeah,
but I love
that's
it.
great. No, they're great. They're the A team. They're that's the team that you want leading WrestleMania and Raw and Netflix. I get that. They're great. But I don't know, man. Joe just doesn't come off as a wrestling to me. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's great. I mean, I liked Excalibur at one point in my life, so maybe my judgment is off. I don't know. But it just sucks for Corey. He works so hard. He does everything they ask him to do. They needed him to do play by play. He did it. He needs to go to SmackDown. He does. It just seems like he's everywhere, and they're like, okay, get out. Kind of like what they did to JR at the end of his career. Like, all right, get out of here, buddy. We don't need you anymore. I don't know. I just don't like the way they treat their guys, if that's a real. But I could dream, can I? I could dream of dream matches. It's not really a dream match. Hey, Tony Khan would call that a dream match. Pat McAfee versus Corey Graves. Anyway, that's over with. Another dream match, which I'm thinking about in my mind. Now, tell me if this is already a rumor or you're already thinking about this.
Okay.
Drew? Because I'm always trying to think of like, how do we get Punk into the main event with the title or for the title against Seth? And then what do we do with Drew? So it all clicked. Is this going to be a triple threat match at WrestleMania for the title?
That's a direction I had not considered at all. And I considered a triple threat at some point on one of the pay-per-views maybe, but not at WrestleMania. But yeah, I mean, I'd be down to watch that. Definitely.
It has to lead there. What other direction could we be going? Because Drew, you would think, okay, we're seeing Seth and Punk do their thing, and Drew keeps on getting in the way. At what point do they just go, okay, triple threat, and eventually someone has to win the title from Gunther? I think Gunther's dropping it before WrestleMania. I truly believe that. So one of those guys is going to take it away from him. I'm not sure which one. And then we have a triple threat. I think that's the way we go. Like, what else would you do? Like, would you want Gunther as the champion going into WrestleMania and then having these guys not fight for a title or have a title involved? I think they should.
The only way you go into WrestleMania with Gunther as champion for me would be if you're going with the John Cena Gunther angle where he's challenging for number 17, captivating storyline, fine. And then you have Punk and Roman, and then I don't know what you do with Seth and Drew, but you can still find good matches. I don't have a problem with that. But now that you mentioned this and seeing their angle on Raw to kick off the show, I thought it was really cool. And I want to see more of it because after the Punk and Drew thing was over after Hell in a Cell, I was like, just keep them away from each other. They're fine. They did their thing. Don't ruin it. But like, you keep seeing that dynamic is still very strong. And then you just add Seth as a factor. And it's just every time they're on TV, they're amazing. And they did that 3-person angle once before, and it was amazing too.
I hope we get Cena and Cody, and then we get a triple threat match with I can't even think of their names now. Seth, Drew, and Punk. I think that's the direction they should go. DSG, I understand you want Cena versus Logan Paul. I know it's a rumored match. I don't think that should happen at WrestleMania. I am coming around to the fact that I think Cena should win the title at WrestleMania. I'm coming to that realization. I think Cena needs to beat Cody Rhodes. I think that's the way that story goes. As far as the World Heavyweight Championship, like how do you get the title off with Gunther without him losing credibility? Then what does he do at WrestleMania? That's already set up. We've already been rumored Goldberg for how many months now? Goldberg could easily face Gunther with no title. That doesn't need to be a title. Nobody wants to see another match where Goldberg gets a title opportunity. Nobody. But people would want to watch Goldberg versus Gunther. So I think somehow, some way, maybe Gunther loses at Elimination Chamber, and then either Drew, Seth, or Punk walk out with it in the chamber. That's the only thing I could think of. And then we have Goldberg versus Gunther at Mania. That's the only logical thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. DSG says yuck. I don't want to see Goldberg either, bro. Like, trust me, I don't want him near any. It's like nobody wants to see Cena beat Cody. Is that true? Is that right? Is that true? Is that true, Clutch?
I don't think nobody wants to see it. I mean, I don't want to see Cody lose to Cena because that kind of ruins the whole, I guess, changing of the guard QB1 kind of thing that they try to do, and they did. And like there were segments months ago where Cena was raising Cody's hand for no reason, just to pass the torch.
Mm-hmm.
So like I think it would kind of ruin that dynamic, and I don't like that part of it. But it's not like I don't want to see Cena beat Cody because it just Cena winning a title for the 17th time. I want to see no matter at whose expense. Honestly, that's just me.
So Justin says he'd rather see Cena beat Gunther for the title, and I've been pounding for that since Cena said he's coming back for one more year. But the fact remains that title's a secondary title, and if Cena's going to break the record, he needs to do it with the main title. And I am one of these rare people that want to see Cody job to Cena, but it has to end up where Cody gets his win back and gets his title back. That has to be the story because I do believe Cena needs to win the title and go off and do a couple things with that title, tie up some loose ends, have some great matches, and Cody can benefit from not having the championship, and it's going to do other feuds that doesn't have to deal with the championship. That's fine. Do it better than what he did with Vince. Don't put him against Brock Lesnar and this and Dominic Mysterio. Put him with legit people that he has beef with. Maybe a Drew McIntyre. There you go. That'd be fun to see. Because he's already hinting at, like, he already came out on SmackDown. I'm not your enemy. Blah, blah, blah. I could have your back. You don't think that was there for a reason? They're going to feud very soon. But I don't think it's going to be until after WrestleMania.
And we saw the seeds being planted in the past Royal Rumble with Punk and Cody. That'd be a good match. Let them go at it. Doesn't need a title.
It doesn't need a title, right? It's true. And Justin, you're right. It's still a world title, right? Some of Cena's world title reigns. I understand that. I've taken that into consideration, but put it this way, I can't think of no quarterbacks returning to the XFL to win that title. They'd want to return to the NFL to win the main title. I don't know if that translates. What's going on, Bobby Digital? But I think Cena needs to go for the main title, or it's like, or what else are we doing here? Like, what else are we doing? Why would you come back for the secondary title? That's just my opinion. But hell, I don't know. DSG says Cena's already boring.
Oh, come on. Come
I don't
on.
think so,
It's
man.
been one promo.
I mean,
it
that was really cartoony, though.
I kind of enjoyed it because he did the thing where I'm washed. I'm just here to have fun in my last year.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, maybe I could go after the title. I found that kind of good and funny. Like it's John Cena. What do we expect?
Yeah, that's exactly what we're gonna get. We're gonna get that John Cena. It'd be cool to get a ruthless aggressive, I guess, promo or program if he goes back with Punk. That'd be cool. I'd be down for that. But he's gonna be the PG Cena because this is his last run.
I did like that small Punk call out before everybody else came out because that Royal Rumble right now, as of right now, it's stacked. And like, yeah, and saying you're gonna get that Cena and Punk face off at least during the Royal Rumble match, and you're gonna get a bunch of those Cena face offs or those Punk face offs that we haven't seen yet, which are gonna be amazing. So, I mean, we have Roman Reigns, John Cena, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Drew McIntyre already announced for the Rumble.
Think about this. Think about this. We have the triple threat match. Let's just say we booked that. Let's just say we book it. Triple threat match with Drew, Seth, and Punk, and then you got Cody and Cena for the title. Where does that leave Roman? Like this is the biggest, I feel like, roster, big names, big stars, biggest WrestleMania, biggest Royal Rumble, biggest Mania season we've ever had. I've never seen this many big names in one main event spot. It's crazy. So Gunther, we aren't even talking about Gunther. He's up there too. We're not even talking about, let's face it, we're not even talking about I can't think of his name. Therefore, he's not a main eventer. Never mind. Move on. Who the fuck was I thinking about? It'll come to me. But I'm excited. I'm excited for WrestleMania this year and for the Rumble. I'm also excited for that dude on your screen or on
Yes.
your screens watching, Penta. Talk about it, man. This is your first time experiencing this guy. I know you're not an AEW guy. Did he live up?
It wasn't my first experience with Penta because,
Joking.
yeah, because I watched All In, the original, and he was on the card against Kenny Omega. And like immediately at that point, I was like, okay, I like this guy. Plus, the match after was the Luchador tag team match with Rey Fenix and Rey Mysterio. So at that point, I was all in on the Lucha Brothers. So anything they do, I've always been for. Even in AEW, I'd like keep track of their things. So him there, and the presentation was amazing. Even last week on Raw in the Netflix debut when they showed a crowd reaction of like the video package for Penta, and the crowd went nuts in LA just for the name.
Mm-hmm.
And then having him debut in San Jose, which is a very Hispanic area, was probably the best decision they could have made because he got a major pop. Like he was a star right away.
Mm-hmm.
And the way he was moving it out there, I think maybe he has new energy being in WWE or something, because I had seen clips of him slowing down maybe a little bit or whatever, because let's face it, he's like 40, right?
Mm-hmm.
So but he was moving out there, and especially having a match right away with Chad Gable, who puts a great match on with anybody. It was really good. The presentation was amazing, and he's so marketable. I don't know how AEW did not capitalize on this. Because before he even stepped out into the arena, they were already selling his masks. They were already selling his t-shirts.
Mm-hmm.
Today, I think it came out, he's the number 1 and 2 bestseller of the week for WWE. Like, how do you not capitalize? How do you not sell masks? And
Listen,
yeah, I don't know.
they don't know what they're doing over there. Like I'll just very small. Justin Toner will know what I'm talking about. On Wednesday night, last night, they had a debut of a woman. She came out number 3 in this casino gauntlet forever fight. And she came out and nobody knew who this woman was. She's never been on AEW television. She's never nothing. The only people that knew who she was Mariah May, and Taz probably had no fucking clue who she was. Sorry, Bobby. That was a half cuss word. Excalibur probably knew who she was. I don't remember her name, Michelle Bain or something like that. And they're like, "Oh my God, it's Michelle Bain from Stardom." There was no video packages. There was no hype. There was no like teasers. You're just debuting this Michelle Bain person. Like we should know who she is from Stardom. WWE took this guy, Penta, and they were like, okay, these guys probably don't know who they are. Only 500,000 people watch Dynamite. Like, who really knows who this guy is? Let's throw some packages out. They'll do some research. They'll see it on the internet. They'll see the dirt sheets. They'll see this guy Penta. They'll Google him. They'll YouTube him. They'll go see who this person is. So when it's finally time to debut, he gets the pop he got. Like that was genius. I don't understand why they don't do that. And on the other side, like a lot of that had to do with like, oh, who's this person coming in? Let's go look who it is. And then they saw him. It's like, oh, this guy's fucking awesome. Sorry, Bobby. And it was such a great debut. It was a perfect debut. Perfect. Loved everything about it.
It was perfect from start to finish. And
I mean, yeah. I was giving y'all shit in our group chat, like, oh yeah, they neutered him, which they did. But obviously, he's in WWE now. He can't just do 5,000 backflips and 500 Canadian destroyers and bounce up like nothing happened. Like he sold, and it was way more effective than anything he's ever done in the past 5 years. It was great.
I mean, yeah, sometimes you see like, and in the WWE landscape, when new people come in, sometimes it works. Like doing less is more at the end of the day, because it helps with like durability and stuff, especially at his age. And even him watered down was really, really good. And he was presented not as this tag team guy who was an AEW or whatever. He could be a major star for WWE at 40 and at least be an upper mid card guy consistently until eventually his brother comes in and they can run the tag team division forever if they wanted to.
Now it's up to Hunter and the creative team to actually keep him relevant, because we have seen, and I'm not trying to get the negative side of this, but you know how I have to. We've seen them fail on so many international stars in the past. I understand it's in the past. I get that. But how many times do we see Sin Cara come in? boom, flop. Nakamura, boom, flop. Anyone with a mask, LWO, all of them. What are they doing with Andrade, right? What are they doing? They got to keep this guy relevant. I think he will because he's so over already. None of those guys I mentioned were ever as over as him.
I've thought about the exact thing that you just talked about all they've been trying to do for the longest time ever before Triple H took over and everything is trying to find the next Rey Mysterio, right? And you can never find that next Hispanic star, that next luchador, whatever. And I always ask myself why. And I kind of like got an answer when I saw Penta walk out there. Is just getting another mask guy who can do cool things is not it. But if you add that plus the look that he has, which is completely different from any other, even luchadors, and plus you add the swagger that he brings, that altogether puts you into that level where, yeah, he right now, and I don't mean all time because that's just blasphemy, but as of right now, he can be more marketable today than Rey Mysterio. And that's fantastic. And back then, Rey Mysterio became so popular because he had that swagger. He had a little, hip hop in him. Whenever he did things, he had the cool theme song, all that, and that's how he got over. And all the luchadors they've tried to like put forward since then have just been talented guys in masks. No disrespect to anybody, but they don't have that swagger that Penta has, the swagger that Rey had. So yeah, I think that's what was missing in that recipe, and I think they found it with Penta. And I think it'll keep going with Rey Fénix whenever he comes in. He's younger, so he can be around for a longer time.
I can't wait till Rey Fénix finally joins. Like that's gonna be huge. Hopefully, I don't know how they're gonna work. Like I was running through the feuds in my mind, like, okay, what can Penta do? Like, what's a long-term feud? Because think about this, and I'm not comparing him to the Wyatt Six at all. I'm really not. But think about them in their debut, how many vignettes they had, and when they finally debuted, it was a huge thing. And now what are they doing? Like now, what are they doing? Let's be honest, they're doing nothing. They're doing When's the last time we've seen the Wyatt Six? Can't think about it. I can't think of a time. Right, but what are they doing? What's their major program?
But I know they got moved to SmackDown, I think, according to last Raw.
Well, that's fine. They needed it. They need some kind of because there's nothing else for them to do, and that's the problem. Like, what can they possibly do? Or what have they done to make me excited for the Wyatt Six? Now, I don't want to see the same thing happening to Penta and other superstars that are joining. Like whenever what's her name comes in from TNA, Jordan Grace. We all know she's coming over, right? What are they gonna do with her? Well, they have so many women already in NXT ready to come up. Roxanne Perez, all these people. It's just, I don't know. I feel like they're so stacked that it's a problem because now they have got people, guys and gals, like on the sideline waiting to get their opportunity. And now Penta's in this very long line of guys and gals waiting for an opportunity because there's so many great guys and gals at the top. It's crazy. It's a good problem to have, but it's also a problem because there's not enough TV time, unfortunately.
Yeah. For Penta, at least in general, he already has the head start because he sells merch. And if you can sell merch, they'll put you in the forefront like they did for Jay when he wasn't. He improved as a wrestler now, and now he's enjoyable to watch now in all aspects. But before he wasn't the best wrestler, but he was still being put forward on top of the card because he's so marketable. He was selling merch left and right, and Penta's already doing that on his first day. So I think that's what's going to put him forward on the list of everything else of being a contender. You can see him against Braun Breaker. You can see him against Gunther. You can see great matches out of him.
Sheamus, yeah.
Yep.
There's one last thing I'm going to talk about with Penta, then we'll move on to our last topic of the night, which is going to be actually Saturday Night Main Event. And main event, Jey Uso is going to wrestle for a world title. So we'll get to there soon, but first we're going to get one last thing. Out of all the years watching AEW, out of all the years watching Penta, out of all the years, I never knew this man spoke English. And what were you doing, Tony? That's all. What were you doing?
Yeah, it's not even that he got like a 10-second promo just to say, "Hey, Cero Miedo," that's it.
Oh, he
No,
went long.
he was a 3-minute promo.
He went over. Did you hear about that? He went over.
Yes.
It's awesome. Good. You know what? Good. You deserve it. And I liked it. My favorite part about this back when AEW was in their prime time and their great spot, and Justin and DSG, if you watched it, you will know this. Anytime someone came from WWE, they got unlimited time to talk as much as they wanted to. Every single person, from Saraya to CM Punk to Adam Cope, all of them had time to give their little story out. Keith Lee, all of them. And I felt like this was Pinta's. Like, all right, I don't know what he said in Spanish. I have no clue. I'm sure someone translated already, but I love the fact that he gave it to the other company without actually saying their names and giving it to them. Just his appreciation, his love, his compassion, everything that about that night for him was like, I made it. My family's right there. My girls are crying. My wife's right there. This is the best moment of my life. And he didn't have to go, F you, F you, F you. You held me back. He just said, I love this place. And I felt so happy for him. That's all. That's all. Felt great for the guy. Yep. So now we have Saturday Night Main Event. Shaping up to be a show. A good show. I'm not going to say it's a bad show. Jey Uso did have a passionate promo on Gunther after Gunther said, you're a great tag team, wrestler. You sell all the merch, you do this, you do that, but you're just a great tag team wrestler. I get it. And then Jey looked discouraged. Gunther, I've already beaten you twice anyway. IC title, remember those days? I beat your ass. You suck. You'll never beat me. It's embarrassing. Don't embarrass yourself again. Jey looks down. Jey looks upset, sad. Gunther walks away, and then Jey gets fired up. And I forgot who I was talking to, but someone told me, one of my buddies at work, he was telling me how he hates Jey Uso's promos. And I'm like, that's all he knows how to do because they're real. It feels like he's talking in real life. Yep. And he's not a great wrestler. He's a great promo to me. And I loved everything he said. Now, did you get hyped up for this match? Because I know you're a big Jey Uso fan. But I'll tell you this for me real quick. I was not interested in this at all. But now I kind of am. I kind of am because of how Jey Uso presented himself. I thought it was great.
Yeah, because in the beginning of that promo, I thought Gunther destroyed Jey on the mic. And I was like, it's not going to be that great. Whatever. It's just going to be another one of those good Gunther title defenses because he doesn't put on bad matches. So whatever. And then you cut to Jey clapping back at him and doing what he does. And whenever Jey drops the yeet and just decides to go full from the heart, passion promo, he's one of the very best to do it in the company. And yeah, and that made me excited for it. It's like, okay, I don't think he's going to beat Gunther, but he's going to give him a match. He's going to give that emotion that he showed in the promo. I think he can translate it to the match now that we know it's there. So yeah, I'm excited for the match. It's a good match to see them face off again.
Yeah, it's just how many times can Jey Uso get there and lose? So many times. And eventually, if you're going to push this guy as a main event guy, again, too many stars, too many cooks in the kitchen, or too many chefs, or whatever that phrase is. I get it. Not everyone could be a world champion. I get it. But, man, you can't keep on calling this guy main event Jey Uso just because he sells all the T-shirts. Like, he needs to start winning matches, and he needs to start doing it. Like, Sami Zayn, we can buy that he's a main eventer, but he loses a lot because he's not presented as main event Sami Uso. He's presented as underdog Sami Uso. It's the difference. Jey Uso comes out there as a star, smoking a blunt with Travis Scott, got the sunglasses on. Well, he didn't smoke because, he's got to do his job. But he would have, I bet you, if he wasn't at his work. And I think anyone would. And then, he just presented as a star, and he needs to start winning matches. But I don't think he's going to win this one. Do they have anything else announced for Saturday night's main event?
I could have sworn they had one more match, but I just can't come up with it off the top of my head.
I think so too. But I thought they were going to maybe hold Priest and Finn Balor off for it, but no, they had a banger on Monday Night Raw. That was one of the best main events Raw's put on in a long time to me. I thought it was great.
That was the match that they should have had at Bad Blood, basically, because it was that good. I enjoyed it so much. I thought every match from Raw was so good. I thought it was from start to finish. All matches were great. And hot take, that not really a hot take for you probably, but the second Raw was much better than the first. of
That's
the
not a hot
Netflix
take at
era.
all. I don't think anyone would say the first Raw was a good show at all. I haven't heard one person but yourself say it was a good show, the first Raw. So no, yeah, second Raw was a banger, dude. I mean,
So good.
let me go back to the first Raw because I don't think you heard everything. It looked great. It felt great. It felt like you had to be there. It felt like appointment television. It felt like everything was there. But it also felt like an episode of Friends or an episode of The Office or just name your favorite TV show. And Michael Scott's not Michael Scott. He's just him, his person. I don't know. I can't remember his name right now off the top of my Steve Carell. And he's just like, thank you, NBC, for putting us on for all these years. Thank you, NBC. NBC, you're the best. NBC. It's like, okay, we get it. You're on Netflix. You don't need to thank them every 5 seconds. We get it. Like when SmackDown went to USA, they're not like, thank you, USA, for all this money. Thank you so much for all this money, USA. Like it's kind of
Yeah, I get what you mean. The only saving grace from that debut show was Punk versus Rollins,
yeah, it was
which was amazing.
So far up to date, and I told Bobby this too. I am keeping the tabs. If you're a match of the year candidate, I write it down on my notepad. That's the only match I have written down right now. And I know it's only 16 days into the new year, but that's officially my match of the year so far until something else tops it.
Yep.
I'm just saying. But we might get there. Surprisingly, Priest and Finn Balor didn't get on there because we've seen it too many times. And any gimmick match can, be match of the year. Like, to me, Kenny Omega and Brian Cage on Dynamite was just as good as what we saw with Priest and Balor. But no one talks about that because it's opening match against Brian Cage and nobody cares and there's no heat. AEW. You bring Kenny Omega back and his first match is Brian Cage. What are we doing? I know you didn't watch it. Justin watched it. I know Justin watched it. I watched it. I tuned in strictly for Kenny. I love Kenny. I'm a mark for Kenny Omega. I'm going to finish it off with this question for you, then we're going to wrap it up. If Kenny Omega or Will Ospreay or MJF ever jump to the WWE, I think 2 of the 3 will. I think we see Will Ospreay and MJF eventually in WWE. Will they get a bigger pop than Penta? Rate it between Penta and Cody. Where do you think they would land? Let's say Penta's a 5 and Cody's a 10. You think Kenny Omega would be on that 10 side or closer to the Penta side?
I think Kenny Omega specifically will be closer to the Cody side, I think.
Will Ospreay.
Probably be closer to Penta.
Okay, MJF, we all know he'd be probably bigger than Cody, right?
Probably at the level, at least the original pop. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. I can't wait for those moments. I think you're wrong on Ospreay. I think Ospreay is going to win a lot of people over in the next coming years. I think Will Ospreay, what he's doing in AEW, is great. I think he's one of the few bright spots over there. The Hurt Syndicate is fucking awesome. I'm not sorry for that, Bobby. You need to go watch everything the Bobby Lashley and those guys are doing because their stuff is great. And you know what? I'm turning around on Ricochet. I'm buying this heel gimmick. I think he's great. It's only been 2 weeks of this so far. This week was great too. I just had to get my AEW minute in there because I know Bobby won't let me talk about it on Saturday night. But I do think that if they get rid of Tony Khan, they're going to be great. That's all. It's easy as that. Shad, fire your son. It's fine. But I think Ospreay is going to turn things up, and you're going to turn around on him. I promise you. I promise you that. Any last words before we get out of here?
No. I mean, I haven't been this excited about the Raw after how this last week played out. If it's going to be more like that and less like the first episode, I think it's a great sign for Raw, especially when now that they're more flexible with time and they can end in 2.5 hours if the story dictates it, or if they can go over 3 hours but it keeps you engaged. I'm fine with that too.
Yeah.
As long as you don't force yourself to get to a time or cut time to get to the certain time, then I think it's great. I thought it's been so great the last 2 weeks.
Keep it interesting. People are talking about it. I got people that don't watch wrestling at all, don't know one wrestler, and they're coming out to me, texting me, "Hey, bro, I'm watching Raw on Netflix because it's on Netflix now." I'm like, "Cool." Like, honestly, that's the real life stuff. People have never watched wrestling before are now watching it. It is the cool thing to do in 2025. With that being said, we're going to get on out of here. Thanks for Chris Koffler for not showing up. It's been awesome without you. Slacker. Just kidding. Next week we'll be back though, talking about, of course, more Raw, more SmackDown, more NXT, probably, maybe, because I did promise I'd watch it. I heard Jada Parker got some heat today. I don't know what for. I heard she got some heat today. I don't know what for. Someone texted me, said your girl's getting heat. I said she can get heat all she wants. She's still fine. I don't care. Don't care what she did. And yeah, that's it, guys. No more awkward outros. Peace out.